So now let's talk about the Krampus movie.
Yeah. So, interesting side note, I watched the Krampus movie only because I wanted to see if they had any music that was similar to what we wrote for a Krampus album.
Unfortunately, they did not.
Yes.
It wasn't even close.
No, the only song they did have a Carol of the Krampus of their own, but it was literally only played during the credits, and it sounded like a high school band and somebody who wasn't very creative with their lyrics. No, that's what you normally get, because most Krampus songs or Krampus albums are actually like by German death metal bands.
Ah.
Yeah.
So this is a thing, like Krampus albums?
So, yeah. But yeah, it's like I watched the Krampus movie like last year, just to make sure.
And there was no comedy Krampus music in there, so like we're good, we're safe. And look, nobody else has done anything like this.
Yep.
Yeah, I was actually when I was putting together the video, I was going to mention some stuff about some pop culture Krampus things, and I just I made it vague. And I showed a picture from the Krampus movie, but I was looking and I couldn't find very much else. But there actually is a whole bunch of Krampus movies.
Now, yeah, like I'm looking right now. There's a whole bunch.
Like B-movie.
That's the thing. A lot of those B-movie Krampus movies are like even older than the mainstream one that came out a few years back.
Oh, interesting. I had never looked at that.
I looked at them all. I was double checking so many different things because one, I was trying to see if anybody else had come up with a parody comedy album. Two, I wanted to see what is out there that's already Krampus. And, three, it's like, well, if any of these were things that caught on, maybe that would be good people for us to know.
Yeah, just doing research on what to sing about, because, we can only sing about throwing children in a sack so much.
Yes. But, so did you guys watch the movie? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. So, I found it kind of interesting that everything that I read in the lore, there was only a very slight bit of it there, because the Krampus that they had was very human.
Yeah, I'm looking at his picture right now to refresh my memory. I did just watch.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like an exaggerated, aged, dragged out human figure.
Yeah, right.
Like a goat, demon.
His first scene, that first scene where he's running along the rooftops, that was kind of awesome.
Yeah.
That was a little terrifying.
Yeah. But I never really quite understood why he had so many minions.
And is the snowman thing that's not Krampus lore, right? Because I was I didn't read that anymore.
That was weird because they never really explained it very much either. I mean, at all.
And in the minions, if you would, I would think, lore says, Krampus had possibly in some situations they may have had followers or Perkton, if you would, that were supporters or helpers of Krampus and so forth. But yeah, I saw the movie a year ago too, and I wouldn't say I was disappointed, but I almost found some of it humorous.
It was humorous.
And then it was almost like a Krampus Christmas Vacation versus I pretend I'm going to be historical. I mean, if it weren't for the elderly grandma in there to give some history,
right,
have a clue. They'd be like, "Oh, this must be brand new," and so forth. So,
yeah, I had very low expectations for the movie because it was so the actors that were in it were all previously from comedies, and the stories are more in the horror area of the Krampus. So I kind of figured they were going to be dumbing down that aspect of it, and they kind of did, but in the end, I think my expectations were so low that I actually I enjoyed it pretty much.
That's why you have to go into things like that with zero expectation, so that even the slightest bit of this doesn't suck becomes pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, I mean, the effects were good, and I mean, I wasn't scared during the scene where he's running along the rooftops, but I thought
it was Eric? You were probably frightened.
A little bit.
You're hiding.
I felt like it was just well filmed.
Yeah, and I don't make gingerbread